Joining me today is Dan Heller, former client with Endeavor Agency, to share his story. Dan, welcome. Good to see you again.
Cord, nice to see you as well.
Well, I remember when we had the chance to work together, you had quite a great outcome, good success, and we enjoyed that journey together. I guess tell us a little bit about your journey and what the role was that you landed.
Sure. I was coming out of a role that I was there for 10 years. I was working, with close friends and family. It was a company I was deeply ingrained in, and it was a move that I wanted to and needed to make, but it wasn't an easy move to kind of let that past behind. That was my first CFO role. Granted, I had been there for 10 years, but I had never been in a formal CFO search before. Frankly, I don't think I had spoken to more than one or two recruiters over the course of my 10 years there. So I felt very lost in
Mhm.
coming back, into the job market. Yeah, Cord, you had been in touch with me a handful of times, through LinkedIn, et cetera. And you were one of the people that I kind of had on my short list, to call to start with networking.
So I know you had started from an early stage with that company, helped build it up to the exit time. What were some of the challenges that you were experiencing when you jumped back into the market and you said, "Hey, I think I could use some help here"?
A couple of areas. Foremost, I only knew what about being a CFO from what I'd experienced during my 10 years at my prior firm.
Mhm.
So trying to understand really what this job looks like to the outside world and how to present it, what was all new to me. Um, Something as basic as I hadn't updated my resume in God knows how long,
Right.
or my LinkedIn, or done anything to kind of present myself to the outside world, was certainly a challenge. But also, just it was a feeling of being a boat in the middle of the ocean and having no idea what direction to paddle, and felt completely overwhelming. At that time, I had no kind of process in place for even how to go about attacking it.
That kind of ties nicely in with the imagery with our logo and our brand and the sailing iconography. What would be some of the things that you identified along the way that you found particularly valuable and said, you know what, this was a big help?
Yeah. There's a couple things, and I'm only talking from my own experience. So I'm sure you've had
Yeah.
clients that have used your services in their own unique kind of ways. But I can be pretty bullheaded about what I want to do, but I can also uh, thrive, or I look to thrive in areas where I can put that concentration in a specific process that I can repeat over and over and over again.
Right.
So, in my experience, going to you guys and saying, Cord, what job should I have? Or, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? What was, while there may be people that you opine that to, that wasn't the direction that I was looking
Mhm.
for. Mine was really, Cord, I want to be a CFO. I don't exactly know, or I want to continue to be CFO. I don't exactly know how to break into that. Show me something I can, give me a process that I can engross myself in, that I can do over and over and over again to kind of present myself. And I liken our relationship to that of like a coach. And
Nice.
not necessarily a coach like a golf coach is telling me how to refine my swing.
Mhm.
More like a swim coach where I'm swimming laps and you said, got to keep your head down, got to keep on going, got to do three more laps. The biggest benefit that I found in our relationship, I mean, there were a number of benefits, but was the structure that you put in place. And
And that's a
you were very upfront about it. You said, look, to work with us, you have to do this structure. You have to commit to doing, I forget what it was, five new relationships a week, or whatever that was. And you would follow up with me and say, oh, did you do that? How did that go? What was the email you sent? Look, Dan, you didn't follow the email template here.
mhm.
It would have been better if you represented it this way. That I found to be that discipline, and it would have been really easy for me, to go to the beach and sip margaritas.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, having that accountability was super helpful. Um,
Excellent.
and you identified a 60 to 90-day process. I ended up getting my offer 60 or so days in.
Mhm.
It was almost like clockwork. At the end of the day, the most valuable part was when the rubber met the road, and I was in deep negotiations
Mm.
on the role. And I'm sure you remember this
Mhm.
vividly as well. I was going to an interview, and for some goofy reason, they canceled the interview. They said, it's too much. You're getting paid too much. We don't want to do the interview. And I called you afterwards, and I was kind of like bummed out. And you said, look, you should respond saying this, and this. And you gave me like a really logical uh, and succinct email. And sure enough, an hour later, I got a response where they call me back and say, hey, why don't you come and talk? And, serendipity, they say
Yeah.
the rest is history. But without that really careful correspondence, this wouldn't have happened. So having someone kind of in your side at that stage of the game was immensely valuable.
Well, if you had some advice to share with someone who was thinking about utilizing Endeavor services and they were getting ready to kick off, what would you say? What would you give them as advice to say, make sure you do this and you'll be amazingly successful?
Um, well, I guess I'd have two pieces of advice. One is it's not that expensive when you think about the value that is being returned. Because admittedly, I did have a bit of sticker shock and kind of getting my head around it, but I can easily see how this returns something in the increment of that. And the second is you need to commit to the process and trust it. If you come into it saying Cord's going to do all the work and they're going to get me 1,000
Hmm.
offers, that's not what this is. It's
Awesome.
you guys act as coaches and mentors, throughout the process. And look, it was an invaluable experience. The skills that I learned there were things that I continue to take throughout my career. And I really appreciated the work and guidance that your team put into it. But my advice would be if you as a candidate are not 100% committed, you should think really hard, before you jump in the
Excellent.
pool here.
Well, that's great advice. Thank you for taking the time to share your story with us. And always the door is open, so reach out anytime.
Thank you, Cord. It's my pleasure.